Conventions means what? Procedures, guidance. Reduce in the value of the asset, we call it as depreciation. If you want to cross one state to another state, you have to pay some tax. All the income and expenditure transactions details. The selling price you cannot predict now only. Hello everyone, I am your ALsir, lecturing Vidhyaashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. We are in the fourth session of your topic called Theory-Based Accounting. In the previous session, we learned accounting principles. Which are the accounting principles? Under accounting principles, we have accounting concepts as well as accounting conventions. All 10 accounting concepts we completed. Now we are in the session for accounting conventions. As I told you, accounting concepts means all assumptions, and accounting conventions means the guidance or procedures. So now we are in the session for accounting conventions. We will understand one by one conventions in today's session. Before that, we will understand what do you mean by accounting conventions. Now, the term convention denotes customs or traditions which are followed by accountants. As I told you, conventions means what? Procedures, guidance. So, traditions, for example, festivals, being a Hindu or Christians or Muslim, whenever the festival comes, whatever the customs we have in the festival, we follow. We go to church, we go to mosque, we go to temple. Similarly, we follow the previous customs. Similarly, conventions, we call it as customs, or else these are the procedures. We should follow this. Now, which are followed by the accountant as guide. While preparing the accounting treatment. So, this is all about your accounting convention. Just one word you remember. Convention means guidance. Convention means procedure. Convention means rules. Clear? Yeah. These are the conventions we have. We have 4. As I told you, our shortcut C, M, F. In this, C squared. C for consistency, conservatism. M for materiality. And F for full disclosure. Now, these are the 4 conventions we have for the today's session. We'll go one by one. First, we'll go with consistency. What do you mean by consistency? I'll go with an example. Later, we'll go with explanation. Now, in case of cricket. So in cricket, for example, you take example of Sachin. Every match he scores 50 to 100. So his average is above 55 or 60. This we call it as consistency. Maintaining the same records. Or else some example you take of any bowler. One match he scores 60, other match he will be 0, another match he will be 7 runs, 8 runs, again 40, again 25. This we don't call it as consistency. Why? Because sometimes he scores 60, sometimes he scores 0. Sometimes again he go for 25, again he go for 7 or 8. This we don't call it as consistency. Consistency means maintaining the same records. Now, according to the convention of consistency, once the company has decided to follow a method, while doing accountancy or calculation, we follow some methods. I'll go with an example of depreciation. Later you will understand what is depreciation. Briefly, I'll tell you what is depreciation. Now, you purchased a bike for 1 lakh. After 1 year, if you want to sell that bike, can you sell it for more than 1 lakh or less than 1 lakh? Yes, you will sell it for less than 1 lakh. Maybe you are selling this for 80,000. Why you are reducing value for 20,000? Why? Because you have used for 1 year. Now this is not a new bike, now it is a second hand bike. The value reduced. The difference we call it as depreciation. Clear? Reduce in the value of the asset, we call it as depreciation. Now again we'll come back to this. Now we'll go with the example of depreciation. In depreciation we have two methods. First one, straight line method and diminishing balance method. Which are the methods? Straight line method and diminishing balance method. We have one more method also, but usually we don't use, that is weighted average method. These things you will understand later. Just I am giving you an example. Now there are three methods of depreciations are there. Usually we go with diminishing balance method. Now once company started using diminishing balance method for 2020, 2021, 2022, for every year they go with diminishing balance method only. If they are following straight line method, every year they should go for straight line method only. If they are going for weighted average method, they should go for weighted average method only for all the years. This is called consistency. Once they have adapted to any method, means the same method they should follow for the next coming years. That is called consistency, convention of consistency. We'll go for the next one. Hope you understood what is consistency. Consistency means maintaining the same record, same method. The second one is materiality convention. This is very important. Why? Because if you go with auditing, you will learn this. In auditing subject also, you will learn the convention called materiality. What do you mean by materiality? I'll go with small example. Now, for example, there are example number 1, example number 2. We go slowly. Example number 1 and example number 2. For example, your parents has given 5,000 for picnic. So how much your parents has given? 5,000. Now, after your picnic is done, 5,000 only your pocket money to spend in travel. Now, out of 5,000, and also your parents said that once your picnic is done, you have to give me the complete detail of your 5,000 spent. So whatever expenditure you made, I need complete detail. So that I have given you 5,000, I need detail of this 5,000. Now, your picnic, everything is done. Now, you sit with your parents and you will give all your details. How you will give? For example, your traveling expenses, it is around 2,000. Now, your food expenses, it is around 1,000. Your shopping, it is around 500. And while traveling, you paid some road tax. So you are going by 4-wheeler or something. So you paid road tax. If you want to cross one state to another state, you have to pay some tax. So some road tax. It is how much? It is around 100. And some miscellaneous expenses are some entry fees. Entry fees, some 1,400. This is your 5,000 worth expenditure detail. Again, I'll come back with the same example. So you have showed traveling expenses, food, shopping, road tax and entrance fees. Now, traveling expenses you have given 2, Food expenses you have given 1000. In this food expenses you may pay for coffee 5 rupees, tea 5 rupees, some biscuits 10 rupees. If you add everything, how much you will get? 1000. In this you will not mention coffee 5, tea 5 rupees, milk 10 rupees, snacks 10 rupees, chocolate 20, like that. Individually you will not mention. Why? Because those are not important. Again I'll repeat, coffee 5, chocolate 5 rupees, like that. Individually you will not mention. Why? Because those are not important. So we club everything, we write it in a entry called food expenses 1000. But your road tax is only 100, but you will mention separately. Why? Because the word called tax, we give importance. We give importance for this word. So we should this separately. So this is called materiality concept. Under materiality concept, we will see the weightage. We will see importance. In this coffee tea we will not give importance, even though it is 200 worth rupees biscuit or ice cream. Even though it is 200 worth, we will include in food expenses. We will not mention separately ice cream is 200. But even though your tax is only 100 rupees, we will mention separately. Why? Because the word tax, we give weightage, we give importance. That is called materiality concept. While recording any entries, we should mention everything, but small things we club and we write it in single heading, because those are not important. Clear? Yes. As per the accounting convention of materiality, while I reading this, just recall the example I have given. As per the accounting convention of materiality, an item is material. Material means important. If it can be influence the decision, so which is important to make decisions of users of the financial statement, this convention is related to significant importance of any event of item. You need not to remember everything. What is materiality concept? You can write in your own words. Materiality concept means the transaction which are equally important, which are significantly have more value, we will consider. If it doesn't have value, we will club it and write it in a single heading. That is called materiality. Examples for materiality: even though 10 rupees paid for tax, materiality. Even though 50 rupees paid for your insurance, that is materiality. Clear? Yes. We'll go for the next concept. Before that, as I told you, example number 2. In this example, your food expenses, coffee, tea, snacks. So it is around 30, this is around 20, and this is 10 rupees. We will not mention like this. We will all put together, we consider as food expenses 60,000. Clear? Yes. This is called materiality concept. We'll go for the next one. Full disclosure. What do you mean by full disclosure? Full disclosure means, for example, again we'll go with a small example. There is a club. There is a club. Just imagine it is a sports club. You are appointed as accountant of that particular club. Now, in this, whatever income you collect, whatever expenses you make, even though it is 5 rupee, you should mention in your books of account. Example I'll give you. You are the accountant, so all the members or all the owners of the club, they are out of station. All the members or the management, they are out of station. Now they have given you rupees 1000. How much they have given you? 1000 for basic expenses like rent or small shop for snacks and everything. They have paid you for basic maintenance. They have given how much? 1000. Now after 1 week they will come and ask you that I gave you 1000, can you give me details for that? What you will do? You will show every expenses like 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 15 rupee, like that every expenses you will show. Then your total expenses 940. What is your total expenses? 940. Out of 1000 you spent 940, the balance is 60. So you will not miss even 1 rupee expense also. If you purchased 1 rupee stamp, that also you will mention I have purchased 1 rupee stamp. Why? Because you have to match with your balance cash. That is called full disclosure. In accounting, even though it is 1 rupee, you have to mention. You can mention in group, but you should not miss out even 1 rupee from the transaction. If you miss 1 rupee, again there is a difference of 1 rupee in your calculation. Clear? Yes. Full disclosure means we should not miss out anything. We should mention even though it is 1 rupee or even though it is 10 rupee. Now, full disclosure convention helps to user in the proper interpretation of financial statement. As per this convention, at the time of preparing records, full disclosure of financial information shall be made by accountant. Being an accountant, you should disclose full. Disclose means what? Showing all the details, showing all the income and expenditure transactions details. That is called full disclosure conventions. We'll go for the next one. The next one is conservatism. Conservatism is one of the important convention. So we'll go with a small example so that easily you can understand. Now, one is your profit, another one is your loss. One is profit, another one is your loss. Now, as per conservatism convention, what is a concept called? You can predict your losses, but you cannot predict your profit. You can make provision. Provisions means what? Keeping safer, like making insurance and all for your losses. But you cannot make any provisions for your profit. In a simple language, I can tell you, loss you can expect. Profit you cannot expect until you receive your profit. Why? Because now you are running a furniture shop. Cost of manufacturing of furniture is 10,000. So if you sell this furniture, you can sell it for 20,000. You can sell it for 25,000, or else if there is no demand, you may sell it for even 8,000. So the selling price you cannot predict now only. If there is no demand for your furniture, then you cannot assume what will be your profit. But loss you should assume. Loss you should make some provisions. So I'll give you a simple example. Normally for our life, what we do? We do insurance, we do some deposits, we do some mutual funds. Why? Because we may assume or we may predict that in future we may go with some unexpected things. So we make a provision that if something happened to me, the insurance people will save my family. If something happened to me, the mutual fund, the amount will go to my family. So losses you can make some provisions, but For profit, you are not supposed to make any provisions. Clear? Yes. This is called conservatism. Very simple. Losses you can expect and you can make provisions. For profit, you cannot expect and you cannot make any provisions. As per the conservatism convention, at the time of recording, any financial transaction you should recognize no profit. Remember, no profit, but provide for all possible losses. Whatever plans you do, you can do to safeguard your losses, but you cannot plan for your profit. Clear? Yes, this we call it as conservatism. So this is all about your conventions for the day. So we had total 4 conventions. The first convention was consistency. The second convention was conservatism. The third convention was materiality. And the last convention was full disclosure. Consistency, I gave example of Sachin, his scoring. Conservatism, just we explained that conservatism means for profit, no provisions. For losses, we should make some provisions or arrangements. Then, full disclosure. Even though it is a 1 rupee expenses, you have to show it in your books so that there won't be any difference of 1 rupee. Then, the last part is materiality. Under materiality, we consider if it is important. With the help of this, we can make decisions. Then, like income tax, insurance, even though the amount is less, we should consider. Why? Because those are very important to take decisions. But small petty expenses like your photocopy 1 rupee, coffee 5 rupee, bus charge 10 rupee, everything we club it and write it in single heading. We will not write those things separately. That is called materiality convention. This is all about your today's session. Again, I am telling you, these questions will come for 1 or 2 marks. So no need of detailed study, just heading with 1 point, with 1 example, more than sufficient to score 1 or 2 marks. So we'll end this session with a saying that learn concept and earn marks.